Moving on to the Finance Committee meeting, the time is 7:10, and we begin with 2.1, review and discussion of cash account report.
So we have our Chief Financial Officer coming forward as we review our cash accounting report.
Good evening, Mr. Moreno, Board President, Board of Trustees, Ms. Servillon, Superintendent. With our cash account, I'm going to review it real quickly. Okay, so, oh, it's not up yet. Do you have it in your front of your packages?
I've got one in that. Are they gonna put it on a
Yeah,
PowerPoint?
they are. Okay. Okay, so to start off with, on the cash accounts, the money that we have in our First Community Bank is $3,551,256.44. For our investment accounts, we have First Public and First Public and Texas Class and Murray Trade. The total investment account is $62,565,093.97 for a total of cash and investment balance of $66,116,350.41. Any questions on that? Okay. The next one is the comparison of revenues to budget. On the revenue side, for the general fund, the total revenues realized to date is $722,375.27. For the interest and sinking, total realized to date is $133,843.17. For total revenues for the general fund and INS for $19,856,218.44. The last section is our capital projects, which is our actual construction, our bond monies. Of that, we've realized $40,968,294.75. That's for our revenues.
Okay, just a minute. So 2.1,
Oh.
Ms. Lopez is going to go as an agenda item for the cash
I'm sorry.
account report.
Yes, 2.1, if there's no more questions on 2.1, we can make that an agenda item. And now we'll move on to 2.2.
Okay, the next page on the expenditures, right there. So on the expenditures, for the general fund, the expenditures year-to-date is $13,860,571.56. For the INS, which we paid our interest payments, like I mentioned last month, it was $1,737,418.82. And then the one that I want to point out to you is the last one, which is our bond payments. Previously, the way that this had been reported, they were taking, if you look at the first column, this is 40 million. The second column is the encumbrance. That amount is the amount that are for the purchase orders that we have encumbered that we are going to pay out. This amount, the 24,654,865.16, is made up of 3 vendors, one being ROFA, which is our architect and engineering. That is a total of about 591,000. Hold on, let me see, I have it here. Yeah, 591,219.85 that we owe for both the natatorium and the PAC for the A&E fees. Then the next portion, there's about maybe 9,500, give or take, for Robert Kistner, which is the geotech company that we use. We are looking into that. It's only about 9,500, give or take, and to whether or not we do owe that or I can reverse it out. But like I said, it's about 9,500. The other portion, which is a total of 22,011,427.01, is what is owed to Davila Construction. For the performing arts, it's 16,086,751.28, and for the natatorium, it's 5,924,675.73. Those balances I got from the last pay app that we paid as of September 30th. So this is fairly new balances, the most recent that we have. So combined, like I said, those three vendors, we have encumbered 24,654,865.16. If you skip the next column, that's the current expenditure, that tells you what we paid in the month of September. That is, in essence, in the year-to-date expenditure. So if you go to year-to-date expenditure, it's 21,214,966.51. So if you take the 40 million, subtract the 24 million, the 24.6 million that's encumbered that we still owe, subtract what we've already paid out, which is a 21.2 million, you see the balance
I don't wanna hear it.
is negative 5,869,831.67. Last month that I showed it to you, like I said, the encumbrance amount was not being reflected on the amount, so that amount was somewhere in the 18 million, give or take. Also, the other thing was that the amounts that were encumbered were not correct. I went back to look at the requisitions and the balances per the pay app, for both the ROFA and for Davila. So I updated those purchase orders, so that's the true reflective balance, like I said, as of the latest payments that we've done for both ROFA and for Davila. So the only one pending, like I said, is 9,500, just to verify whether I have to reverse it or not. But as of now, we are 5,869,831.67 in the red for the bond.
And so that's over budget on our construction projects and that, and once again, that amount that you're saying right now, as of right now, you're talking about $5 million, and from those $5 million of the extra expenditures, is it fair to say that our project manager is getting 4.5% of that as well, of those expenditures?
I've gone
Possibly.
back, I haven't looked at the contracts. I talked to Mrs. Servillon this afternoon when I realized what this meant. And so I wanted to let y'all know and advise y'all in advance as soon as we can. I am gonna go look further into what has been paid. I know Mr. Cortez and I have been working on a spreadsheet to determine exactly and add up to those 21 million and see what money was spent and where was it spent and how much of it was spent. So that way we can give you that information and provide it to y'all so y'all can be aware of it.
So bottom line, we're over budget.
Yes.
And that's not including
The parking lot
parking
No.
and all the sidewalks.
and technology. So, yes, we're 5.8 over budget, and that's with what we've expended and also the encumbrance, which we are already looking at paying those out as well. So we wanted to be very crystal clear that we're now at $45,869,000. We still do need our IT stuff, we still need our parking lot, we still need our road, and also we need all our landscaping as well. And then we have to go back and see if there's any adjustments we have to make to the buildings themselves, as when we bring on our construction consultant. So we wanted to be very clear that we are 5.8 million already over budget.
And when you say over budget, that means that we only had 40 million for these buildings, and now we need to get an extra almost $6 million, 5.8 million from our funds balance to pay for this.
And once again, note that it doesn't include the parking lot, it doesn't, so that, what we're over right now is just part of what we're going to be over. And yes, you're correct, it's gonna have to come out of our fund balance, and once again, because of poor planning, not going out to consultants and getting real pictures, so again, previous administration.
So we might be looking close to $10 million.
Correct.
Probably. Give or take.
So previous board majority also, because the board is the one that approves these projects as well. And so with the previous board and the administration, the team of 7, plus the superintendent, this is a result of not hiring professional consultants to give us an estimate of what the actual buildings would have cost us, and just basically calling other districts and asking them how much it cost them, and using that as the estimate.
I want to add to your point, Ms. Lopez, again, it may sound redundant, but just to your point, It's crazy, guys. Our community's being, and I'm sorry I'm using the word, our community's getting screwed, and they're not getting what they were promised. And again, Monica, I know that you're doing a great job in looking at all these figures. I applaud Ms. Cervellon into her transparency with the district, because they need to be aware, our community needs to be aware of where the money's going. And unfortunately, things should have been done using best practices and not just what they did, not how it was done.
And the severity of this, I mean, $5 million is a lot of money. Most of us will never have that money in our hands, you know? And just for people to brush it off and say, at the end of the day, there was nothing illegal. It's just very upsetting, you know? And then we have board members that are fighting over little things instead of looking at the real picture of what this is, you know, how massive this is. Nobody questions it. Nobody questions it. It's just a few of us that question it, and there's board members that would rather pick a fight about something that is minor compared to this huge issue that we have in front of us.
So at this point, your question, Mr. Moreno, was about the 4.5% for the project manager. That depends on 4.5 of construction costs, which we would have to go in and look at those to see what that would translate to, because we would be paying that out as well. So we'll give you a clearer picture, but yes, we will be dipping into our fund balance minimally. I guess at the minimum would be 10 million.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you for sharing the bad news.
Yeah.
That's what Ms. Cervellon always
But
says.
hey, you know, it is what it is. Thank you.
Any concerns, any questions?
I have a lot of
No.
concern, but I think I already stated them.
Yeah, and unfortunately, some people don't have questions. 2.2 becomes an agenda item. 2.3, review and discussion of tax collection.
Okay, the tax collections, just to go overall, the total current taxes collected from July to September were 452,331.07. The total current taxes collected from October to June were 14,932,593.50 for a total percentage collected of 93.09 versus 95.18% the same time last year. Any questions?
Yes.
No questions, comments? Agenda item. Moving on to 2.4, review and discussion of check disbursements for September 2022.
Okay, you received the check registers. If you have any questions, let me know. The general fund AP checks total disbursed was $3,349,237.26. For the student activity checks, we disbursed $42,573.27. The construction projects, we paid $2,048,026.01. The scholarship checks, we paid $1,250. The Pearl checks, $9,439,894.57. Again, the liability are the ones that we paid to the IRS, TRS, voluntary insurances, and so forth. And that, since it's early in the month, it will be reflected in the October 11th board meeting. Total amount of checks paid was $14,920,981.11. Any questions?
Any questions or comments? That becomes an agenda item. Moving on to 2.5, review and discussion regarding adding chief financial officer as a signer on a Ameritrade investment bank account.
Okay. This is, again, one of our investments that we have, and I was added to the other accounts before I got here. This is just the last one that is pending for me to have access to Ameritrade. And this is where we invest part of our bond monies and part of our general fund monies.
Any questions, comments? This becomes an agenda item as well. Moving on to 2.6, Review and discussion of bid proposals for the Pest Control Services District-wide RFP 0922 PCS.
Yes, Mr. Cavazos is here with me to assist me.
Good evening, President Moreno, members of the board, Superintendent Silvio. The district went out for proposals on pest control. We usually do this annually. The last 2 years, we renewed with the same company, but we had to go out for bid on this year because we exhausted our renews. I think you have a tabulation in front of you. We are recommending Killabug. And on this proposal, we're actually saving $9,000 than we did from last year.
How much?
9,000 per year. The proposal were evaluated by a committee of myself, Ms. Martinez, Mr. Rodriguez, we're maintenance, which is the IPM coordinator. We called his references and we even asked him a couple of questions, so we feel comfortable with our recommendation.
Who are you recommending, Mr. Lopez? Who are you?
Killabug? 22,000.
Who did you all have last year?
Excuse me?
Who did you all have last year?
Who do it?
Last year?
Last year we had Bug Off. Bug Off Pest Control.
This is gonna be a one-year deal?
It's for 1 year, yeah. If we want to renew again, we'll bring it back to the board again for another year. Yeah.
Not that guy, that right there, that
Plus, some of it you do in-house, right? Some of it you have the maintenance people do it also?
Yeah.
Is he certified, our in-house individual?
Or the what?
Is he certified?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
The Killabug, yeah. Yes,
No,
sir.
your in-house guy.
In-house.
Oh, Albert, I don't,
Yes, he's,
yes, he is certified.
Why do we get these guys if he's certified?
because this is for the entire district and he has multiple, and I think, as a matter of fact, Mr. Rodriguez was moved into another position, right, Mr. Saldana? He's not in charge of that any longer. But he was certified.
$22,000. Put it to that circuit.
2.6 becomes an agenda item. Moving on to 2.7, review and discussion to extend the proposal of recycling services for one additional year, RFP 0920 RSD.
2 years ago, the district went out for bid proposals on recycling. Maintenance implemented a recycling program at the campuses levels. That means eliminating some city trash bins, bringing in recycle. We've been doing it for 2 years, so this is the third year. This would be the last extension of this proposal, so we're requesting to extend it one more. Yeah, next year we'd have to go out for bid again.
Two 2.7 becomes an agenda item. Moving on to 2.8, review and discussion regarding the SH bullet resistant shield program.
Okay, Chief Sosa is here. There's a grant that he is applying for, and he needs to have a resolution approved, so he has more
I'm sorry,
information.
couldn't really hear you.
So Chief Sosa, do you want to elaborate, I'm sorry. You're applying for a grant, and we have a resolution here today so that our board can support us moving forward with the grant.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, Board, Madam Superintendent. We applied for the governor's grant for 20 ballistic shields for the department. That would have one at every campus, and the supervisors, roving supervisors. The 20 shields come up to $3,428 each, with a total of $68,571.40. The grant requires a resolution approved by the governing body, the board, in order for us to proceed with the grant.
So you applied for a grant, and is there a set amount that we're applying for? Is there a certain amount that we may be awarded, or are they gonna fully fund?
It's a fully funded
It's a
grant.
fully funded
There's
grant?
no match funds from the district.
Awesome.
So there's only stipulations that, of course, if the money's misused, that the resolution requires that the school district pay back all the
back.
money. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And these shields will be left at each campus, you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any other questions on shields?
No, I appreciate the proactive approach that you're taking to get these grants.
Yes, ma'am. And the shields vary from about $1,500 to about $8,000, so we're somewhere in the middle. The grant does require that the shields meet a certain level of resistance, so we're meeting that level.
Is there gonna be an additional training that'll come?
Yes, ma'am. The grant does require that all officers assigned a shield attend alert training, so that is one of the requirements for the grant.
How many shields are you trying to get?
20. We currently have 3.
Oh, okay, awesome. I know that previously a community member that is in law enforcement had asked if you all had all the equipment necessary to be able to combat anybody that comes into a campus. And so I'm glad that you're saying that y'all are getting shields, so that way you can use those to protect yourselves as well and our students and staff. I'm happy that there is a grant for this from the governor that you can apply for, and I hope that we get it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This becomes an agenda item. Moving on to 3.1, committee concerns or questions, comments. I do have a question for Mr. Villon. Mr. Villon, originally when the public was advised about the bond, there was a mention that the state would be providing funds to assist with this bond payment and that we could possibly get assistance financially when it comes to the bond, so that we wouldn't end up paying the $80 million when you take into account, you know, the interest that we would be paying on this bond and so forth. And so can you all follow up on that to see what the status is on that? When I questioned Dr. Carmen back May 2021, he said it was something that they would look into. When I asked him about it, I wanted to follow up on that to see if there was any money coming into us from the state.
I did read his response, and the response alluded towards the money we would be getting from ESSER, for ESSER, and I don't know if he put anything else, but yes, we can look into it. I did talk briefly to Ms. Mata about it.
Mm-hmm. His original email to us was on the ESSER funds that we were receiving 30 million. And then when I replied to him, I was asking about the $40 million bond. Mm-hmm. And then that's when he replied that there was supposed to be some state funds that we should be getting. But after that, I never got any more information on that from him. So if y'all
I'll
can
discuss
look into
it with
that,
her
please.
further.
Yes, and I'm just gonna give my opinion here. This is strictly my opinion. It's not with the board or the school district. Recently, there was an article placed out in one of the local newspapers about the audit that was done, and for me reading it, it really seemed like they were really dismissing the reality of what this audit found. The auditors that we hired, they are professional auditors, former FBI agents and so forth, so they have a lot of good experience. They're one of the best in the state. And so this is not a political thing. This is us taking care of our taxpayer money and making sure that our monies are being used wisely, so that the funding that is provided to our kids and our staff is used the way it's supposed to. And so I just wanted to give my opinion on this, and there were several sections on there where the auditor did say that there were possible infractions when it comes to breaking Texas code, and Texas code is the law. And so I definitely would be in support of anything that would proceed further with this, even if it means law enforcement investigating. So that's my opinion and that's my comment, and I'm not going to be afraid of anyone that is trying to stop me from giving my comment, even though I have been tried to, you know, I did receive a message from someone saying for me to stop my allegations and so forth. But again, this is my opinion, and I'm not going to be afraid of anybody. And if we need to proceed with anything, I would be for it. Thank you very much.
I'd like to make one more comment, and just going back, Chief Sosa, if I may, I just want to once again compliment you and your staff for protecting our staff and our students. And I'm reaching out to you. You know, if this is happening statewide, nationwide, kids don't take threats seriously. You know, they speak without really thinking of what they're saying and what repercussions they will have. But I ask that we entrust you, and you're our chief of police. You're entrusted with the safety of everyone, you know, including your staff. And so I ask as board president, and this time I am speaking on behalf of the board because I'm pretty confident that we all feel the same, that if you feel there's anything additional that we need to do as a district, that we need to keep moving forward because safety is a big concern. And I know we get, as board members, we get messages from Ms. Cervillon on a daily basis of comments being made, and it's not okay. The kids need to understand that there's serious consequences of what they're stating. So keep up the good work. I'm proud that you're on our team of San Benito CISD, and please thank your staff as well. Thank you so much.
And also, I'm really concerned about the number of incidents that have happened recently, and so I just want to make sure that the district is informing kids, you know, publicly or talking to them, whether it's classroom lessons or however you all want to do it in the district, but making sure that kids know that the seriousness of them making any threats and that legal proceedings will take place if they need to. You know, so Ms. Servillon, I know I had addressed it with you. Can you give us an update on that?
We did actually not only send out communication to parents and to students, had assembly with students. Also, our counselors spoke to our students in classroom sessions. So the students are very cognizant of the fact that there are serious repercussions. We also outlined again what those laws are and those policies are so they could connect with them. I think that sometimes, and you know, this is, I mean, it's gotten a lot better, I must admit, you know, from the onset. But I think as, you know, being young and being kids, they're kidding around and they think like, oh, well, I'm just kidding around, and they don't understand that in this day and time, it's very different as when I said that in the 80s, you know? So we have been trying to really drive that home. I know the teachers are having a lot of conversations with them as well. So all the staff has joined together with that message because we're concerned about them. You know, we want them in school and we want them to do well, and we want them to understand that words mean things, so.
Yeah, and just to the community out there, like if you are a parent, if you're a grandparent, if you have nieces, nephews, please make sure that you're sending this message home to those kids. These are not taken lightly. These are serious things that happen. This will follow you for the rest of your life. It will have implications in any further jobs you want to get, anything like that. This will come up. So please reach out to the younger kids, reach out to the kids, let them know this is not right, this is not funny, and this is not a joke.
So thank you, Ms. Servillon, for that update, and I'm glad to hear that there's a lot that's being done in the district to help our students understand that there are ramifications to them making any terroristic threats, and that there are consequences to it as well. So parents, like Ms. Cruz said, please inform your kids if you're listening out there. Let them know that no threats are taken lightly, so please not to make any threats whatsoever when it comes to our schools, whether it's burning the schools or, you know, causing fires or whatever. It doesn't matter, you know, guns, nothing. Just don't play around about this stuff. So thank you all to the community. Thank you, staff, for everything that y'all are doing, and Officer Sosa. So thank you very much. If there's no further questions or comments, then we adjourn this meeting at 7:38. Thank you.